Done our dough, chaps. We've done our dough.
Welcome back to another edition of Odds. This is week 18. Huge day today, Caulfield Cup Day, Everest Day, so much to cover. So getting straight back into last week and seeing how we went. We got back 53.58, which I was pretty happy with. There weren't too many collects, very close in the Caulfield Guineas. Just roving banked the wrong horses, broadsiding and Wanneroo. Could have just boxed everything and just had Private Life, had Feroce, big dividends, 4,000 for the try, so options were there. Mem's Choice, Erno's Cube, no good. Extra 2 I was keen on, no good. Bizot was a good run in running third. We just missed the Quinella there. We had first and third. Private Legacy was a very good run. I was keen on that each way. I thought it might get second from back in the field. It paid about 7 for the place. That was great. Got the Quinella with Grinzinga. That was a good $15 to get us well into our 50. Herman Hesse was good. That tough win prior, I think it was at Mornington, was a good indication. So leaders track there that at Caulfield last week, and that delivered. So it's a shame we got it at fixed $12. It ended up paying 16. Brightside was no good. Hurricane in that Herman Hesse race was no good. Broadsiding no good. Close in that race with Exotics, sort of, but we're all close all the time, aren't we? Mornington Glory no good, and then Antino was good. Pretty crazy that it got to 5.10 in the end. Another Will was just way too short and hadn't been running in the quality races that Antino had, so that was good, and got the Quinella with Craig, who was also a bit over the odds. So got back 53.58. Very happy. Only $3.50 in bonus bets to bring into this week. So Caulfield Big 10 race program. The Cup is, I say it every year that it's just, not a lot of great horses, but an interesting race because there's just so many. You've got 20 horses and 20 different form lines. I feel like it's the same again. Maybe it's just the older you get that everything in the past seemed better. But yeah, it's still a good day. And let's get right into it. All right, so Caulfield race 1 over the 1400 metres, open for the 3-year-old colts and geldings. This is a race where we're going to see how good the favourite is. Sugarcoat people are very keen at the $2.80. To me, it's really a question of whether it can cross from barrier 10, win that speed battle, or at least not spend too much energy, and then hold everything off, which I don't think it can. And I don't think at 280 it's worth that risk. Get a Fix has been building into good form in Sydney, not necessarily like great races, but it's got a good barrier. Joe Moreira on board is fantastic. And yeah, I think it just sort of is coming into form at the right time for this. Barbaric Lad, number 3, has been running in much better races. It'll probably go back. Caulfield might not suit it, but I mean, the $11 is value. Contagio should lead. Lake Forest was good last time up on pace. That's 17 and overs. Figlio D'Argento, number 10, was really clinical the way it put away its opposition in its only win. Only run, only win. $15 is overs. And Taken made tremendous ground in both of its 2 runs. So I feel like the value is down the bottom. I'd be having Figlio D'Argento each way. I'd be having Taken for the win. In our case, it'll be like $1 each way, and Figlio Argento, $1 the win on Taken. If we had more bonus bets, I'd do something on Lake Forest as a bonus bet for the win. And then I'll do a Quinella for 2-3. So 2 Get a Fix, 3 Barbaric Lad, 7 Lake Forest, 10 Figlio D'Argento, 11 Taken. I'd be laying the favourite if I was going on Betfair. I just don't think the value is really there. And those first races on Caulfield Cup Day can be tricky. So I would be doing that, and keen to see how well those bottom weights can sort of measure up. Race 2 at Caulfield, the Gothic Stakes, 1200 metres listed. This is a race of a bunch of winners coming together, and it'll be I think it's a bit tricky to find value because you can make a case for so many runners. Bitter Creek comes out. I was quite keen on that at 20-1 because it had been running in such good races. So the favourites are Reserve Bank and Gallant Sun. Gallant Sun's been backed in big time. I can see why people last time probably were a bit let down that it lost to Stolly Bolly. I think that Stolly Bolly sort of had the drop on it in that race, and Gallant Sun's its win was on wet, I think, on soft, and it won by 6 lengths. So I think that the heavy 8 is really good for it today. Barrier 2. Reserve Bank at 370 is pretty much overs because it jumped up to Group 2 grade last time and ran a good second to First Settler, like a really good second. So on those sort of averages, like I think it probably should be $1.90 here. So that's saying something. Lovely Cut had really good acceleration last time at 18 to 1 here today. Last time it was a lot shorter than that when it won. It's probably, I mean, if it was just it's just the caliber that it's running against here that's got out to $18, but that's definitely a place option. Lofty Arch was really good leading last time. I don't think that was really a day 2 lead. Held on really well for 5th, only one under 2 lengths behind them. So that's going to probably go and lead and give a really good sight. Adolfito's undefeated, Tarpaulin. It's a bit, I don't think it's a great betting race because, yeah, there's just a bit too much of you could take either of those favourites. The outsiders will all present challenges. I'll be having something each way on Reserve Bank and Gallant Sun, one on Sportsbet, one on Tab to try and get the bonus bets back, and then doing Quinellas and trifectas around Reserve Bank, Gallant Sun, Lovely Cut, and Lofty Arch. So 6, 7, 8, and 10. All right, race 3 of the Sportsbet Classic, 2,000 metres, 3-year-old colts and geldings. I'm looking at this race 2 ways. One is that there's no speed, Keeneland's just going to go to the front and dictate and win. Or 2, that it's just a difficult race, small field, prone to upsets, a lot of horses developing and now getting out over more ground, so the form before it doesn't really matter that much. So yeah, Keeneland was really good last time out, held them off really well. It did have an economical run, it was a top ride, like all credit and all honours to the jockey. It's unknown in the wet, so the 225 looks a bit sus there. Red Aces handles the wet, solid stayer. Peru might start to run better now, it's getting out over more ground, but it's a bit of a non-winner really. Scary looks like a Dower Flemington type to me. West Indies, interesting. Kieran Marr trained, come from Kembla Grange to here. Interesting horse. China Sea, they must have some wraps on it because it went from winning a maiden to like running in a Group 1 and sort of been a checkered thing since then. King of Wall Street made huge ground last time. I reckon as a Kumani stayer, it needs like a lot of ground, a lot of space to really hit top gear. I don't think it gets that here at Caulfield. So I'm just going to have a win bet on Keeneland because then you get the bonus bets back. Have a trifecta with 1 Keeneland and 8 King of Wall Street as roving bankers to run in the top 3 and then the field to rove. Could get a scenario where something at odds wins and then Keeneland runs second and King of Wall Street third and you get sort of a decent dividend. So for me, something like $1.50 to win Keeneland, and then the trifecta 1 and 8 roving bankers with field for $1 for that race. Not a really like a big one in the scheme of betting. Race 4, Ethereal Stakes, 2,000 metres, 3-year-old fillies Group 3. This one's a little bit more interesting, bigger field. 2 Down Discreet was really impressive last time. I'm thinking just to stick with it just purely for the fact that it was a good win and it doesn't really meet a great field here. Not that these sort of Oaks lead-ups ever really are like that interesting. All Kinds of Folk was good last time. So was Killcare Beach Girl at Flemington. It wasn't really a leader's day until Just Fine sort of bucked the trend, but it was strong in the lead. I think that will be probably get a pretty easy lead here. So I like that. With All Kinds of Folk. Hurry Curry's been good, just whether sort of the form measures up now. Mumsy, number 9, might also go up and contest for the lead. What else have we got? So Hurry Curry, when it won over the 1600, ran basically a similar time to 2 Darn Discreet. Ran a little bit faster, but I mean 2 Darn Discreet won on like a super heavy, flooded track at Flemington. So I think the quality's there. Feminale's interesting, like that win in Adelaide when it came down the outside rail when Kayla Crowther was found that fast lane, like that looked good, but I don't know that it's really going to be that like a top line horse now that's running in these big races. So that'll be interesting what it does. Jenny's Meadow could improve a lot. Bit of a tricky race. For me here for exotics, I'd go 2 Darn Discreet number 1 to win. Number 7, All Kinds of Folk for second, and then 3, 4, and 5 for third. And then I'd flip it and do 2 Darn Discreet number 1 to win, 3, 4, and 5 for second, and then 7 for third. All right, race 5 at Caulfield, the Alinghi Stakes, 1,100 metres. This one is sort of a battle of the 2 horses that have been dominating in sort of 70-ish grade, Isthmus and Neons. Neons is at a Swiss Ace, an old favourite of mine. Still gutted that I missed that trifecta when it won at Caulfield in that Oakley plate. Those things never leave you. Gumdrops was good value, been running in better races, second up here. Suits, it's 2 from 2, second up. So that's something to watch out for. Chinny Boom was poor first up. I don't know why it was such a strong favourite. Like, it's a decent Queensland horse, but it's not like anything special. So I don't know why it was $4 in that race. And it'll be interesting to see what it does here. Penthouse is placed every time first up. 5 starts, 3 wins, 2 placings, 20 to 1. And it's a yes for the wet. So that's really over the odds. Passaggiata made up huge ground last time. Isthmus was really good. Neons was really good. It's funny, before Len Picker was scratched and before Flying Fizz was scratched, Len Picker was the only horse to have actually won here at Caulfield, and it was about 20 to 1. There's a lot of speed in this race, so the back markers probably had an advantage, but they're both out now, scratched, so it's going to be a bit of a speed battle. I would be doing a trifecta with Gumdrops and Penthouse as roving bankers with the field to rove. And I'll be having something for the win on, the favourites, Isthmus and Neons. I assume that they'll run well. Maybe have something for Gumdrops on the place, and maybe a Quinella as well, like Gumdrops, Isthmus, Neons. But yeah, not a great betting race. I just have something on the favourites, try and get some bonus bets, see how they go. All right, race 6, 1,000 Guineas Prelude, 1,400 metres, 3-year-olds Group 2 fillies. This is probably the most interesting tactical race of the day, and a really good betting race as well. GG's Mistruth is probably the best horse in the race. Those 2 runs have been really, really good. Behind Bellatrix Star, like, that form has just been franked 100%. Drifting's a really good horse. It's just been unlucky with this barrier. I think it's going to come across, it's going to be caught in a bit of a speed battle. I don't know against a field of this quality that it can overcome that, and I think the 280's far too short to find out. To Be or Not to Be has really worked into the prep. The runs have been good. Gets up to 1,400 metres now, and barrier 6, pretty perfect. It's probably going to get that sort of 3rd, 4th outside run. The $9 is great value. Two Done Lizzie was really good running 3rd in that race at Caulfield, and behind Lilac and Declici Boulevard, like, 2 really good horses. The form is really strong. It's better on soft ground, which it gets here. Untried on heavy, but it should progress to it. $9, great value. Zai Tung is the one that I didn't really zero in on till later, but the way that with the horses going forward, this is going to come across and probably get a really good run, like 6th on the outside, and it'll have the chance to build into the race. Loves wet ground, which it gets here, and it's probably going to run on really powerfully. So the money's come. It was $7 yesterday. It's into $4.80. Zai Tung's probably one of the best of the day for me, looking at that. The other one I would say is Exuberance number 12 with Joe Moreira on board. The win at is it Cranbourne? I feel like it was Cranbourne. Was really huge. It led for the majority of the way. A wall came at it, but it was just really, really strong. Something about that caught my eye. So I think that if that leads, it'd be very interesting if it can hold on, or what it can do, maybe run a place. It depends how much petrol it has to spend, but definitely Zaytung is the way for me. Quinella each way on Zaytung. Quinella to Be or Not to Be, 4 Two Done Lizzie, 6 Zaytung. And then for a couple of exotics as well, I'd be doing like a small Quinella, maybe 1, 2, and 6. Amina, To Be or Not to Be, Zaytung. Amina's been good. It has won here at Caulfield before when they send it forward, but lately it's been running on. It's been very one pace when it's been running on, so I don't think that's going to suit Caulfield. If you look at when it won it, I think it was at Randwick, it just sort of really ground there. The same when it ran second to Manal. So if it goes back, I don't know about that. I mean, certainly like the quality it's been running against is comparable or a lot better to a lot of these horses. But yeah, let's go Zaitung, and then let's do trifectas as well. 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12. We'll throw in GG's Mistruth. It's probably still good enough to run a place, even though it might not win. But you could definitely, any of those 2, 4, or 6, you could make a huge case for. But yeah, just the way that the race maps, I think that Zaytung is going to be the one to get the best run out of all of them. Race 7, the Millennium Sprint, 1,000 metres, 3-year-olds, Group 2. This one I do not like at all. It's a chaotic race. There's a lot of speed. They're all going to go forward. It's hard to make sense of it. Ray Magnerio, yes, it's been sort of consistent and been running well lately, but it's a bit of a question mark on the wet ground. Way to the Stars fell away badly in that race last time in Sydney. Before that, it was really good. Sans Doute doesn't really like it wet either, like a lot of placings, but no wins. It's a strange sort of race, like Midtown Boss. I remember when that ran at Warrnambool, I watched it. Don't know, like it started sort of favourite that day, didn't really deliver. Hard to get very certain about anything. What I would say is that there'll be a lot of speed, and Spacewalk will sit off that speed. And it's run before in good races in Sydney. It's had a couple of good trials and a second and a first recently. Doesn't win a lot, but again, like I don't know whether it's just the horses I like happen to have Joe Moreira on board, or I'm subconsciously seeking that out, but it's a bonus. So I like Spacewalk. I think the value is good against this field, very beatable. Estriella, really good as well, dropping in grade. I mean, it's been running in those two Group 1s lately. I just think the 1 and 2 are clearly better than anything else. For Barrier 1, Estriella should get a good crack at the lead. Remains to be seen whether it's a leader's day or not. But yeah, I'd be doing those two each way, Cornellas. I'd be doing trifectas with those two as roving bankers and then have the field to rove. I just think they're a cut above, but one of the rules we'll come back to at racing is that whenever you're too certain about something, that's a bad sign. So could be very wrong. I would also say that Scuderia, career, 14 starts, 5 wins, 5 placings. Good horse. Hasn't really had any wins or close placings lately, but it's been close up in all of those races. 2 lengths behind Mornington Glory, a length behind Holy Racket. 50 to 1 and $9 for the place is a bit ridiculous. So I would probably have something for the place on Scuderia with some bonus bets. Maybe even do a Quinella, 1 Estriella, 2 Spacewalk, 10 Scuderia. But yeah, not a race I like. It's a difficult quaddie leg. I would either take 1 and 2 or take the field and just move on. But yeah, that's race 7. All right, race 8, Tristarc Stakes, 1400 meters, Group 2. This one is tricky. I think Skybird's building to a win. I think it probably will win here. That's getting a bit ahead of the story. The $3 probably isn't really good value in such a big field against good horses. Revolutionary Miss was good last time. Quintessa was really good first up, then it just didn't perform at Flemington on that strange day, odd track. I'd probably overlooked that. Barrier 6 here, probably will get a good run in transit, so the 853 tempting. Road to Arataki really dropped out badly in that race last time, where I thought it was sort of set up for it, so not really sure there. Miss Ari was good. It's coming out of sort of restricted grade. I'm reluctant to jump on board a horse which has on paper sort of worse form than some other ones here. I think the 440 is a bit short, but I'm probably missing something with that. Molly Nickers, number 12, has made really good ground running on in those 7th and 10th runs that have gone under the radar. If you look at the previous prep, it's a bit of a high class staying horse. So Caulfield probably doesn't suit it, and Barrier 1 probably means he'll get shuffled back on the fence. Even still, I think that the value is really good. So Glamorous, I've followed both runs this prep. It's been a little bit underwhelming, but it could be building into something, and it could be getting sort of to the distance range it likes now. The 1100, 1200 probably didn't suit. So that's phenomenal value too at the 26. What to make of it? Well, it depends a lot on the speed. Like Skybird's going to run on, So Glamorous will run on, same for Molly Nickers. They sort of need a bit of a fast speed up front. So hopefully Road to Arataki can attack a bit, and Ahita can attack a bit. Same with Revolutionary Miss. Quintessa, to try and jostle for spots. Also Shione, it was really poor. It just didn't look fit in that first run. But if you look at the previous film, 24 career starts, 9 wins, 5 placings. Distance, 7 starts, 6 wins and a placing, phenomenal. Loves soft, loves heavy. If that's anywhere near back to normal, the $15 is great. So I'd be doing Skybird for the win just because it's I would say the best horse in the race out of Exosphere. And then Quinella's around 1, 2, 4, 5, 12, 16. I'd go pretty wide and try and include some of those value runners. So yeah, Quinella 1, 2, 4, 5, 12, 16. And then place on Sione, and then place on So Glamorous, place on Molly Nickers. I'd use some bonus bets in this race, and really go for it a little bit. Tough leg of the quaddie too. Yeah, race 8. All right, the big one of the day, race 9, the Caulfield Cup. 2,400 meters, 3-year-olds and up, group 1. So this one, there's a horse that I really like above all the others, and I think it's Zardozi. The run was really big last time against Land Legend. It gets in better at the weights against that horse. It now gets the wet track that it wants. It thrives on wet tracks. It will probably get a good run in the running. It'll probably sort of be about 7th or 8th on the outside. From that barrier 9, it suits really well. Andrea Atzeni comes down from Hong Kong for this. It's been backed in. It was 8, it was 6, now it's 550. The money's really come, so the value's sort of being eroded in such a big field, but yeah, quite keen on that. How will the race sort of play out? Well, Buckaroo will probably go back a bit. It's been really good up to the 2,000 meters so far. The 2,400 is a question mark. Some horses just don't make that leap. Weight-wise, it's in very well, 54.5. It's not giving a lot to the horses below it, so well weighted. Elias has been great. It was great in Sydney previously, and then it was really good behind Via Sistina. It's from barrier 18 will come across and try and lead or run second. It depends how much work it has to do early. Duke de Sessa will kick up. Elias will try and be there. Deny Knowledge will also go forward. So there'll be a few, but it's not like everything will be really fighting for it. Fancy Man will probably take a sit 4th or 5th. Sayadati Sadati will just be up there, probably around 4th or 5th. It won't do too much. Berkshire Breeze will try and get up there as well. They're probably value runners for exotics. They could just fall into a place. Coco Sun should get a decentish run back in the field and be running on. Valiant King was good in this last year, running about 5th or 6th. Doesn't really, the form doesn't really say much, but it is better on wet, and it gets wet, and it's only got 50 kilos. I mean, it'd be worth this to place bet, because that could run on into a place given the right circumstances. Duke de Sessa, I think, even though it's a horse I don't want to bet on, it never really wins. It doesn't really, the $12 in a sense is not value. At the same time, it's 2 runs have both been 4ths, both in group 1s. It's going to get a pretty easy time of it up the front. There's a lot of good, good reasons you could back it. So I'd be putting it in Quinellas and trifectas, even though I don't really want to. Warmonger, I don't think that wet track suited last time, and it was also a tough 2,000 meter stayers race. I think it's really the benefit of that extra 400 meters will be huge for Warmonger. I don't think the soft track suited. The heavy probably doesn't suit any better today, but just the Caulfield Cup being longer might work out for it. It did still make good ground. I just think that it's sort of like an Adelaide Cup horse rather than a big Caulfield Cup chance. Melbourne Cup maybe could run into a place, something like that. Warp Speed, I feel like the wet won't suit it. It'll be more of a Melbourne Cup. Huay Tour probably gets it back into a bad position on the fence. Carlapor's sort of the same. Land Legend, Barry 1 hasn't produced a winner since 1947, and it's probably going to get locked away on the fence midfield. I think it was well weighted last time. Can't really see it winning here. But anything can, obviously, that's the caveat to anything. So yeah, for me, Zardozi makes the most sense. Quinellas, just a simple favourites, Quinella, 2 Buckaroo, 7 Elias, 13 Zardozi. Because I think it's a race that really is geared towards the better horses and the favourites, and you might get a Sayadati Sadati or a Fancy Man falling into a place or something like that, but I think a lot of these outsiders are really either hacks or geared towards Melbourne Cup. So yeah, that's that. So yeah, I'd look at Berkshire Breeze even 40-1, pretty crazy considering that there was huge raps on it only a few weeks ago. But yeah, all roads point to Zardozi. All right, last race at Caulfield, Moonga Stakes, 1,400 metres, Group 3. This used to always be middle of the program, and it would often be a Sydney horse that would come down and win, like Boban that time. So this is just a collection of a bunch of sort of horses from all over the place. Like Pinstripe was great, beating Mr. Brightside and Pride of Jenny, and then it sort of flopped last time, but the margin was distorted because that Brightside won by so much, and then this was sort of 7th out of 8th. Yeah, and it's favourite here, so don't really know what happened there. Maybe it was eased down, but yeah, 360, it's certainly a class above everything. Gentleman Roy sort of fell out of form, then was back in form. Will go to the lead, $4.40. The Pendragon brings New Zealand form across. Coastwatch down from Sydney. Buffalo River's old. Fearson, is that a Queen? Yeah, Sydney form. I was going to say Queensland. Ripcord from WA. Aerosol from Adelaide. Like it's just where do you look? Dashing first up, had really good consistent form previously. Zechariah's off like a huge break, like 300 days or 800 days. It's just crazy. I'd be thinking if it's a quaddie leg, just take the field. I really like Agon. Really good group grade horse. Gets forgotten about here, number 13. Prefers wet ground over dry. It wants to run on, so barrier 14's good. It can go back in the field. I would just back Agon, pray there's a bit of speed on, and just watch that come down the outside and hopefully win. Otherwise, no idea. It's just way too hard. So not a good betting race. Be interesting to see if Pinstripe does win, but yeah, if you're live in the quaddie and you can take the field there, just hope for something out of the clouds. So that does Caulfield. We'll look at Randwick. I've sort of gone through all the races there because it's just such a good meeting this time. So race 1, I'm going to skip. That's just a poor staying race. All the horses are out of form. Avoid at all costs. Race 2, 1600 metres, 3-year-olds open. Interesting betting race. Berkshire Shadow, I should say. Really good form. Been running in Group 1 grade. Here it is at a 3-year-old open. So there's a reason why it's got 62.5 kilos and it's got to sort of give 10 kilos to everything else. Thunderlips, High Dandy, Too Much Caviar, 7, 8, and 9 are going to go up on the pace. One of those could get an easy lead or like an easy second and win. Vivier, it's a horse I really like, had huge wraps on, hasn't really delivered in the last few runs, will get back, really suited here with 52 kilos. I would be thinking go each way Berkshire Shadow, but then do a trifecta where you have like 7, 8, and 9 to win, 1 and 10 for second, and then all of them for third. Because I feel like something with the right run will win, and then those two quality horses, like one of Berkshire Shadow or Vivier will run second, and then one of those 5 in total will run third. I do something simple like that. Race 3, the Reg Allen Quality 1400 metres, Group 3 fillies. Yeah, a lot of emerging horses. Volatile race. Hard to know what will get a good run. Dominator number 9's the favourite at 260. Way too short in a race like this where anything can happen. Wings of Desire, the form's been good, running in really good quality races like that Group 2 last time. I think that's great value at 12s. I'd be doing that in a Quinella with 10 Jellylicious. I like that it's been set aside for this race in Sydney. 12 Canara at $16 and 14 Dora Lee at $30. I think that is the way to go there. Hopefully get bonus bets back on Wings of Desire if it doesn't win. So yeah, Quinella 1, 10, 12 and 14. Race 4, the Angst Stakes, 1600 metres, 4-year-olds and up, Group 3. Yeah, this one's pretty tough as well. Hinged is the favourite, probably for good reason. I like Lekvate. I just think it likes the track, hits the right sort of race, good second up. I think all the metrics sort of point that it'll run well. Gets in pretty well at the weights as well. So I'd have something on Lekvart each way, and then a Quinella for 1 Lekvart, 4 Quickster, 5 Hinged, 6 Osbred Flirt. I'll stick with Osbred, even though it ran 18th of 20 last time out. It meets a much weaker field here, so I'll throw that in the Quinella. So Quinella 1, 4, 5, 6, each way Lekvart. Race 5, this one's pretty open too. The Kosciuszko, yeah, I mean, front page, big favourite. I'm not super keen. I just think that the 280 is too short. Boom Talk, the runs have been really good so far. It was $8 just before, now it's into $6.50. The money's come. I'll be having that each way. I would do a big Quinella. I'd put in At Wits End, number 4, Boom Talk 5, Elson Boy 6, Asgarda number 9, maybe even number 14, Martini Mama, and number 11, Gallant Star. So there's some big ones there. Martini Mama's 60s, Gallant Star's 11s, Asgarda's 26. But yeah, I think it'll be a race with some outsiders. Elson Boy's 34, At Wits End's 26. So yeah, Boom Talk each way, but then a big Quinella. Race 6 is the Sydney Stakes Group 3. This one's, yeah, a lot of good horses here. Williamsburg, Rocking By, Arkansas Kid, Remark, Marzu, that sort of second tier of sprinters that would usually run behind like a Fangirl or a Private Eye are all here. Southport Tycoon was suited last time because the pace was so hot. Don't really know how it's going to go this time out. So I wouldn't be taking the 380. Overpass and Think About It are big chances at $5 and $8 respectively. King of Sparta's a big chance at 11. Airman, I doubt it's going to repeat what it did last time. I'd be zeroing in on Remark as a good place chance. Form's been good, just won a trial. I feel like that's a great value at 50 to 1. Arkansas Kid's done nothing wrong. That's definitely the form horse here. I'd be sticking with that as well. So Remark for the place, probably each way Arkansas Kid. Also don't forget about these bottom weights. Lady Laguna at 20s, Mumbai Muse at 20s. Lady Laguna's form had been really good. The barrier's tricky, barrier 18, but yeah, I'd be doing a big Quinella here. 1, 2, 7, 9, 16 and 18. And yeah, don't forget about Remark. Race 7, the Everest, the big one. This one, I've gone through all the form, and I think the standouts are Growing Empire. It just, it had them beaten last time, but sort of the what it had to do caught up with it. I feel like with 53 kilos, it's going to be very well suited here. I don't think Jolly Star at $6 is great value. I Wish I Win is much better value, I think. It's really primed for this. It's going to go back. It's going to run on hard. That's, I think, the default option. Giga Kick, it just depends whether it can get back to its best. Bella Nipotina, everyone seems to be laying it, so I'd sort of stay away. I like Steffi Magnetica. I feel like it's ready to take sort of a bit of a next step, and the form's been really strong, really consistent. I think the $14 is good value. And then like things like Traffic Warden, that's done nothing wrong. Storm Boy, if it's a bit of a leader's track, could get a great run and go far. So for me, yeah, each way Steffi Magnetica. Quinella's around 1, I Wish I Win, 6 Steffi Magnetica and 9 Growing Empire. And then, yeah, going wider for Quinellas and trifectas beyond that. Race 8's the Silver Eagle, 1300 meters, Group 3. I think this is a really good betting race, and especially for number 1 V8. It's been running in such good quality races. It drops back here to this Group 3. I know that barrier 13 with the top weight looks really bad, but don't be deceived. This is a great race for it. If you look at Ostraka, the favourite at $4.40, it's never running group grade. So I'd be staying away from that with barrier 14. I'd be looking very much at V8. I'd have an each way bet, and then I'd do a trifecta where V8's your roaming banker, and then take things like number 6, Rhythm of Love at 50 to 1, War Machine, Komoshi, Stretton Angel, well timed at 23 to 1. I think that's really smart. Probably do the same for a Quinella. And yeah, like Komochi's really good value at 460. Stretton Angel, the form, I mean, it's running 2 Group 2s, comes up to Sydney for this. $9.50 is good, but yeah, V8's the one for me. Race 9. The other big one, the King Charles III Stakes, Group 1, formerly the Queen Elizabeth, 1600 metres. Bit of a poor field until you get down to Tom Kitten, Pride of Jenny, Fangirl. Pride of Jenny's definitely going to go to the lead. There have been a lot of people laying it, so the 2 to 20 might not seem good value. Tom Kitten was huge last time. If it can just get a decent run in transit, the $23 is great value. I'll be having each way on that. Pride of Jenny's probably your good win default bet. Fangirl will probably run well. Amelia's Jewel is good value for a place and for multiples, and the same for Pericles and My Oberon. Pericles has really done sort of nothing wrong. It's just ticking along in good grade, and it's paying 34. So Quinella's around 1, 2, 8, 9. And then trifecta's 1, 2, 8, 9, 10, 12. It's pretty big and boxed. You could sort of roving bank Tom Kitten and Pride of Jenny, hope for those. Or you could even go be a bit bolder and go like 1 Pericles, 9 Pride of Jenny as roving bankers, and then rove the others. But yeah, I'd be looking at Tom Kitten, I'd be looking at Pericles for a place, and yeah, maybe a win bet on Pride of Jenny. So bit of a huge day. Had to really work hard to try and fit the 50 across Caulfield or Randwick, but that's the point of a budget, to make you really allocate your resources to the best possible positions. Yeah, I think that looking at it overall, Zaytung, huge chance. Zardozi, huge chance. V8, huge chance. I think those would be my 3 that I would put into all my sort of multiples, parlays and things like that. No sport this week. We'll park that until we sort of pick up something where there's a bit of knowledge and expertise behind it. But yeah, great day's racing today. No more clouds, no more rain. It's looking good outside. So enjoy Caulfield Cup Day. Best of luck to you. Hope you can jag some sort of big Quinella or trifecta. And yeah, Spring Carnival is fully alive. Have a great day.
And then came Sweet Liaison as they turned for home. Jefferson, he's been in front every inch of the way. He's out wide too.